This episode of the Commercial Real Estate Investor Podcast is brought to you by my CRE Accelerator Mastermind, where you'll get access to my step-by-step investment blueprint, essentially a library of resources on how to invest in commercial real estate. You'll get connected to a supportive community of other commercial real estate investors that are doing projects just like you. You'll get personalized coaching and feedback from me every step of the way. Go to www.crecentral.com to learn more. Welcome back to 30 Deals in 30 Days. It is day 9. I am your host, Tyler Cauble, and join me as we are undergoing 30 days of underwriting commercial real estate so that you guys can see how I do it and you can go out and do it in your own markets or with your own deals. I get asked all the time, how do you actually underwrite? How do you do these spreadsheets? You guys are getting a firsthand look into how I operate behind the scenes, how I evaluate deals. And look, I'm not going to sit here and claim to be an underwriting expert by any means, but I've been doing it for about 7 years. We've acquired over $75 million worth of real estate and had some pretty good exits. So I think that I at least get a couple aspects of it right. All right? Jam's jumping in, commencing day 9. We are commencing day 9. Z saying, hey, let's go, day 9. It is day 9, baby. And today we're going to be diving into a warehouse outside of Birmingham, Alabama. A lot of y'all may come across deals like this where you're looking at it, you're going, that's been sitting there for a while. The price looks good. So why is it still sitting there? Well, we're going to look at one of those today. We're going to figure out why it might be sitting there. Let's go ahead and dive on into it. If you want to join the challenge, by the way, that link is in the description below. It is free to join the challenge. You get access to this chat that you'll see here where everybody is dropping all of these deals in. You get access to my call schedule so you know when we're going live. All you have to do is just click the link in there and it'll bring you here. You get access to my course for 30 days. I mean, now it's, I guess, 21 days until the course access runs out. And then you've got some resources like my underwriting AI tools, my deal analysis toolkit, all my underwriting spreadsheets, everything. So the one that we're using in this challenge, you guys get to actually download that spreadsheet and get familiar with it. This one is coming from Jason Wallace. He's saying, hey, Tyler, I came across a deal I'd love to get some eyes on for the challenge. It's a 9,800 square foot warehouse in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, about an hour from where I live in Birmingham. It's listed at $800K, also being marketed for release at $750 triple net. The YouTube video is about 5 months old, so it seems they've had trouble moving or releasing it. Crexy shows it's been listed for 422 days. It sits on 4 pretty flat acres, mostly cleared. Looks like it could be great for laydown or outdoor storage. My idea is to cut it into smaller 1,500 to 2,000 square foot bays with individual roll-ups, run plumbing efficiently to each unit, and use the yard for boat and RV storage or contractor laydown. From there, build a waiting list and develop additional flex space in phases. Curious to see what the underwriting says. And maybe understand why it hasn't leased yet. All right. Let's check this out, Jason. Sounds like it could be an interesting opportunity. Let's figure out. Let's see if we can see. All right, they're asking $800K, 422 days on market, updated 41 days ago. So it's in the county. That could be, typically that's a good thing. Like whenever, sometimes when you get out into the county, these properties will just have fewer restrictions on them. So you can kind of do whatever you want. 20-foot ceiling height. I mean, that must be if that's, okay. That's nice. I mean, who doesn't like a good 20-foot ceiling height? All right, anything else we can glean from here? Okay, unzoned county. Dude, you can do whatever you want. That's exciting. Strategic location, excellent prospects for investors. Looking to get a foothold in Tuscaloosa. Renovated in 2024. Interesting. That is kind of weird, right? That they renovated this property. It looks nice. It's seemingly in a pretty good spot. I wonder, what is this picture? Is that the building? No. Kevin saying, hey, Tyler, driving and listening. Appreciate it, Kevin. Keep your eyes on the road. Glad you're listening now. Okay, this is kind of wild. I mean, this is what happens in an unzoned county. you get a warehouse in the middle of neighborhoods. That's crazy. Very interesting. I wonder if there's any restrictions as to what you can do there because of the neighborhood. Like, I wonder if that's maybe a deterrent. Yeah, Jason's saying, yep, that's the space. I mean, kind of wild. Hey, the good news is, you've got utilities all around you because there's neighborhoods next door. And if the flex space fails, maybe this could just become another neighborhood. I mean, this is brand new, though. Like, look at this. The gravel looks beautiful. Looks like they just cleared it. This looks like somebody that watched one of my videos on flex space and was like, let's just buy a place and build it. And they literally picked next door to their house. All right. You got a couple of roll-up doors in the back as well. Oh, one's a loading dock. Okay. That's really nice. They actually kind of built this really well. So you got a loading dock, a roll-up door. You got pretty open ceilings. I mean, this is this place looks pretty nice. So steel frame. Yeah, Jason's saying it was built in 1988 and renovated last year. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. Yeah, Z, let's start a rocket company in there. There's quite a bit of demand down in Alabama, and I hear they've got some pretty smart engineers too. I mean, the building looks like it's in great shape. I don't see any issues with it, right? Like the concrete, I'm looking for cracks in the concrete floor. I mean, you can see cracks, right? But we're talking major cracks, like bigger than the width of your thumb. Cracks basically up until that, not really that big of a deal. If you start to see something that's bigger than the width of like your first knuckle on your thumb to the tip of your finger, that's a problem. But I'm not really seeing anything like that. I mean, interesting. Running back in napkin math, they're asking $800K for 9,800 square feet. It's $81 a foot. I don't see how this deal doesn't work. So that's why we're here in Jason's dilemma of why has this not traded then, if that's the case. All right, let's watch the video. Well, maybe not. Go.
This is 6115 18th Avenue in Tuscaloosa, located near the Lynx apartment complex down 69 South off of Mimosa Park Road.
It's good.
So very convenient to Interstate 2059 and Highway 69. It is a 9,500 square foot warehouse on 4.5 acres. There's 4 roll-up doors and 4 man doors, one of which you can see.
One thing I want to point out right here, if you look at these gutters, they go straight into this collector and go underground, which means that they're going into like directly into stormwater or just away from the building. That is like A+ whenever you have a building like this. You don't see them very often. I mean, you will sometimes in new construction, depending on the type of building that it is. But like older buildings, so I mean that's obviously brand new. They had to have done that during the renovation. It's not typical in older buildings. It's awesome. It just prevents future issues because that water is getting away from the building instead of going straight down and then putting pressure either on the crawl space or the basement or whatever and causing issues.
See is a dock. The other 3 are drive-in. So gravel drives in, good bit of graveled parking. There's probably 2.5 acres cleared of laydown yard. There's another acre or so behind it that could also be cleared if additional parking or laydown yard was needed.
I mean, really what you would have to do if you wanted to turn all of that into a true laydown yard, like it's already cleared, which is great, but you will have to put gravel down. because if you're turning that into a laydown yard and it rains just a little bit, I mean, it's just going to be an absolute mud pit. So one thing to keep in mind, like it wouldn't be just as easy as, hey, let's tear out all the trees and start throwing stuff down back there. You can do stuff temporarily, of course, but I mean, if you wanted to make it a more permanent or semi-permanent laydown yard, you'll have to put some infrastructure around it. Really, just crush or run gravel's typically fine.
Again, all of this can be gravelled as needed. So the back of the building is where we started.
I actually kind of like that they did this video.
Come around, you can drive all the way around the entire building.
All right, let's see here. Back up just a little bit. You can tell they didn't necessarily replace any of the facade, right? Like that's old damage. Not uncommon with these types of buildings. When you go and look at some of these older warehouses, you will see a lot of that. People are driving big trucks. They have trailers. They've got all sorts of equipment. These buildings get hit. And fortunately, the skin is actually very easy to replace.
Drive all the way around the entire building.
They're designed for it.
So as you can see, a good bit there. As you can
see the difference. Let's pull this back right here. See if I can capture this quicker. See the difference in the gutter here? Like you can actually kind of see that's going slightly uphill. That water is just going to go right back down into the ground there.
Bit there. As you can see on the pole, there is 3-phase power. I don't believe it has been run to the building, but
that's nice. So, okay, 3-phase power to the pole, which is going to save you a lot of money. It's a different type of setup. I'm not an electrician. I couldn't, I want to say maybe it's a different transformer. I really don't know. But if a tenant needs 3-phase power, you're going to have to get somebody to set it up on this pole, which is going to cost you a lot more money, and then run it to the building. The fact that it's there already is pretty nice.
But it is there on the pole and at the meter. The meters are actually there by the pole. The building has been recently updated. It's in great condition. So you walk in the back door, again, roll-up door there. New high bay lighting, LED throughout. This is the only demising wall in the building. It can easily be removed if need be. There's a 8-foot wide by 8-foot high opening there on the far left. Man door here. Here you have kind of a mechanical room with your power coming in. Plumbing stubbed in here. There's not.
That's nice. There's plumbing already stubbed in. I mean, you would assume so, right, with it being an older building. But when you have to run plumbing into some older spaces like this, like Jason was talking about, maybe splitting them up right into smaller bays and running plumbing, and that's great. Obviously, you're going to have to do that if you're demising the space up. It can get expensive, or it can just be a really annoying process because they will have to saw cut all of that concrete to run a trench to get that plumbing in there, and that can just be labor intensive.
Currently any plumbing on the building, but can be. We waited to do.
Did you hear what he just said? Did he just say that there's no plumbing on the building?
Building, but can be. Room with your power coming in. Plumbing stubbed in here. There's not currently any plumbing on the building, but can be. We waited to do that so we could do it however it suits someone.
I think maybe he meant to say there's no plumbing in the building. Surely if you've got that stubbed in, like no plumbing on the building, to me would say like there's no plumbing running to this building at all. And if that's the case, Jason, that could be one of the reasons that it hasn't sold. But surely he meant in, like there's no active plumbing there.
As you come into the second area of the warehouse, again where we started. So you got some plumbing that was stubbed in here. Again, we can build out bathrooms, office space as needed. Know that that'll be pretty specific to the user. So you got those two doors there that we saw at the beginning. The one on the right, it's got the dock, main door, and then drive in on the left. I'm gonna drive in there on the right. Another kind of storage room. Again, this could be used as office space. It would be rough, or new office space can be built without any trouble. There is a mezzanine system that's steel that we left in here. Thought somebody might find it of use. If not, we can gladly remove it. But kind of a neat system there. Again, the framing underneath it can be pulled out.
That's actually really nice to have a little mezzanine system like that, because you can have all sorts of storage underneath, and then you can actually build out offices on top of that if you want. So you just make a much more efficient use of the space. I like when offices are built like this. It's not very common to see that in flex space. I mean, obviously, like for ADA accessibility purposes and stuff like that, it's just tougher to deal with. But if you had offices elevated above and you had storage underneath them, much more efficient use of space, for sure.
But good storage. And well insulated, lots of lighting. Great for warehousing, shop space, manufacturing. And then we'll come out what is technically the front of the building. And you'll see it's kind of wooded between here and the street. And then you drive around the building and then gravel drive out there to the street. So again, 6115 18th Avenue in Tuscaloosa. You can get more information about it on our website at CRE.
So one thing that I think is going to be tricky, and I can't really tell the angle from here, but typically any type of vehicle that's going to need a loading dock is going to be like an 18-wheeler. I mean, some box trucks, but typically a box truck could also use the roll-up doors. Your typical, vehicle fleet that most contractors will have or whatever can use roll-up doors. This looks like a very, very tight drive in order for them to try and get anything in there. I mean, you're not going to be able to back up into that, right, because of where this is. So you almost have to come at it at an angle. Really what you're going to have to do is build this out further at an angle so that somebody can just kind of back up at an angle to it. So really, as that loading dock sits right now, it's probably not super functional.
.com, or you can give us a call at 205-75.
All right. Well, I mean, that gives us a pretty good idea about what's going on there. Let's catch up on y'all's comments. Let's see. The video was recorded in the 90s. Could have been. Looks like it was recorded on a very bright day from a phone. Yep, no fixtures. Looks like a basketball court. I mean, hey, there's a lot of people that are turning buildings like this into pickleball courts. They're turning them into, indoor basketball. Sure. I mean, you can do all sorts of things with them, which is pretty cool. So, okay, let's look at the flyer, see if there's anything additional on there. You know what's funny is I just thought about this, but like if a broker really wanted to get some good exposure for a listing that they have that they know is a good investment, they should join the challenge and submit their deal. I was just thinking, like, what if one of these brokers actually submitted this deal to just get it sold? Because to me, it looks like it's possibly a good deal. Like I don't, you're right outside of downtown. I mean, Tuscaloosa is not huge. It seems like a pretty interesting area. I think the access is a little wonky with it being in a neighborhood. I wonder if that restricts just the types of vehicles you can get in there. Let's go look at this on Street View. I think that's going to be very interesting. I mean, that's so funny. Like, you've got an AT&T store, neighborhoods, industrial building by itself. Like, this is kind of funny. I mean, look at that. It's surrounded by all neighborhoods. I mean, there's some industrial right there, but everything over here. I mean, hell, there's a golf course across the street. I mean, come on. You finish up your work for the day, you walk across the street to the golf course. It's not a bad gig, man. That should be in the sales pitch. Yeah, that access is not ideal. Holy hell. I mean, Jason, I think we've got your answer. Look at how narrow this road is. And look at that access point. You're not going to be able to get big trucks turning into here at all. That makes it very difficult. Yeah, I mean, just look at that access. Jim is saying, is it fairly easy to convert to a gym? Yeah, I mean, dude, gyms are super easy to do. All you'd have to do is build out the bathrooms and throw some stuff in there. So I think this might be our answer as to why this hasn't sold. You're going to have to spend some money to fix this up. And typically anything with a bridge involved gets very expensive very quickly. So I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not. Let's see if there's just a bunch of stuff for sale in Tuscaloosa. Maybe nobody wants to buy there. Yeah. So I'm looking at y'all's comments, seeing everybody like realizing, yeah, this isn't going to work. Pife is saying the city should buy it, make it a community rec center. That'd be a great thing for the city to have there. Yeah, I agree. There's 30,000 feet for $14 a foot a year. 16,000 feet for $6 a foot. That's kind of on the north side of town. Here's our building, $750. So, I mean, it could just be overpriced per square foot. I mean, if you can get it, I don't know, maybe not. 24,000 feet for $375. It's tough, man. This is a small market, so it's really hard to get comps. I mean, the first thing I'd be doing is calling all these brokers. Looks like you got, Duckworth Morris, Right Space. Right Space seems to have a couple of these. Industrial Warehouse Services. I'd be calling these guys and trying to figure out what's going on in the Tuscaloosa market. Like, what's driving industrial over there? Because it seems like it's kind of a no-brainer just based on the price, but, there's some limitations. I mean, there's some massive limitations to the site. I mean, just right off the bat, I don't even know how you discount it for not being able to access it with bigger trucks. Because you think about like how many businesses that would need this type of space specifically, that eliminates right off the bat. I mean, access is so important. So if they can't get 18-wheelers in there, now you're down to even smaller units. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but okay, let's see. Just one industrial. Yeah, see, there's just not a lot for sale in this market. $950 for 10,500 feet. $2.5 million for 20,000 feet. So everything's around like $80 to $100 a foot, which is really, really cheap. Oh man, we got a 500,000 square foot building. That's right up my alley. It's too nice. We got to wait until this gets abandoned and then I can come in and turn it into something cool. All right, $315,000. So that's $100 a foot. $1.5 million for 2 industrial properties. Let's see how much 5 acres, no zoning restrictions, heavy power capacity, flex U, 600 amp, 480 volt. I mean, this is the same, 24 foot. This is a great comp. $70 a foot. Yeah, so Jason, it seems like maybe there's just not a lot happening in this market because, I mean, how long has this been on the market? Oh, man, I never use LoopNet, so I don't know how to look at this. Date on market was May. So, I mean, 5 months. It's not great. 6 months. You'd hope it'd move a lot faster than that. Especially at $1.5 million. Like, that's cheap. So, Jason, what this is kind of telling me, okay, this is Cottondale. Maybe this is a little for, whatever. What this is telling me is that there may just not be a lot of demand from tenants or owner occupants, because you've got some deals that are kind of perfect for owner occupant deals. They're relative, like $1.5 million is pretty cheap. If you've got a construction business or asphalt, whatever it is, you're probably doing at least a few $100,000 a year, if not more. You should be able to afford something like this, and they're not buying it. So I wonder, man, maybe Alabama football has just been disappointing everybody so much that the business is going elsewhere. I don't know. All right, let's throw this into the old underwriting machine and see what we come up with. I mean, I'm sure the numbers will work. The problem is we're going to have to really account for long-term vacancy is what I'm thinking. Jam is saying it seems like a better place for recreation, maybe some markets since it's surrounded by neighborhoods, maybe some accommodations for the golf spot close by or something along those lines. Gabriel is saying, what's up, Tyler? What's up, Gabriel? Good to see you here. Yeah, I mean, I think that, with it being across the street, it could, from the golf course and next to all these homes, like, it might make sense to approach the golf course or the community nearby and say, like, hey, what if we did an indoor tennis facility or something like that? Problem is, you're gonna have to run a business like that, and so it'd be a lot better for you to just find the tenant that wants to do something along those lines. But who knows, man? Let's see here. All right, it's 95 and change. 9,800. They're asking 800,000. Capitalized rehab. I mean, if we're going to go in there, we're going to throw up some demising walls, build up some bathrooms. You know what? I had somebody comment on one of my videos like, hey, you do too much of this in your head, which I think is fair. So if I didn't know any of this, I need to demise a 9,800 square foot warehouse into, let's say 5 units, into 5 units. Can you give me an idea of the cost per square foot for adding demising walls 20 feet to the deck, adding an ADA restroom to each space, and building out 500 square feet? Yeah, I mean, we're roughly 2,000, let's say 400 square feet, 400 square feet of office space in each unit. Boom. There you go. No excuses. I mean, look, it's not going to pull up perfect information, but this is going to give you really solid back of napkin numbers. I mean, we're actually in the process right now of training a GPT on actual construction numbers that members of the mastermind have gotten, whether they are contractors that are doing deals for people as well, or just deals that people have done themselves, so that we can just say, hey, what's the range from all of the mastermind members, That way we can base it on real data. But what I've found is, like, if you actually go into Google and you search, like, costs to add a bathroom in a warehouse, you can generally find some pretty good numbers. It's probably 20 grand, right? So if you think about it, like if you've got a saw cut, run plumbing, and build out a bathroom, like a bathroom is just 10 grand. But if you've got to do everything else, all the infrastructure, everything else, whatever, it's probably going to cost you 20 grand. So like right there, we have basically 2 restrooms that are done, right? Because they're kind of in the 2 spaces. So we need to add 3 more. Well, there's 60 grand right there. $60,000 in the budget that we would have to add. Let's see, 4 demising walls. Well, technically we already have 1 demising wall, so maybe I can get rid of that. But let's just see what it does. Look at that. I mean, it's going to fire rated, need an ADA bathroom. Each bay gets 400 square foot of light office. Oh, come on. Something went wrong. Now it's going to have to think for 20 minutes again. So anyway, that's kind of how I go about doing it. Gabriel is saying, what are you doing for Halloween? Well, Gabriel, I have, there is a haunted house here in Nashville that is like one of the best haunted houses in the country. And they happen to be a tenant of mine. So I love supporting them every Halloween. It's a lot of fun. They have like Hollywood level sets. So we've got some friends that we go with every year. So we'll go and get some pizza from a local pizza spot that we all love, and then hit up the haunted house. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We always get like the extra VIP tickets too, because then you can go through all of the different haunted houses. They actually have several, which is pretty cool. LinkedIn post expert, is that on ChatGPT? Ha! Those are all GPTs that I have built. If you guys remember, we used to live stream, we would do the investors roundtable or the brokers roundtable. I created those to help me put all of those live streams together. All right, here we go. $400 to $600 per linear foot of wall. Let's see. So look at that. I mean, it gives you a pretty good breakdown. Is this perfect? Absolutely not. Like there's a reason contractors have a job, but it's basically telling us per bay we're spending $106,000 to $150,000, which would be roughly what, 500 to 750 grand. I mean, that's probably what I would expect. If you're spending 750 grand, the space is 750 divided by 9,800. It's $76 a foot, right? Oh, did I do my math wrong? 750 grand divided by 9,800. Yeah, $76 a foot. That's a lot. I mean, obviously you don't want to do that. Then you're probably way too high. So let's assume maybe it's 500. So I mean, here's the thing. I think that these are coming in high. I think the demising wall was too much, like 32K to 48K. Assuming 100-foot depth. Oh, it doesn't know the depth. Okay. So that's I didn't give it, 120 feet. So I need to decrease it. But you guys get the point. I would have to give it like really, really solid dimensions. Robert's saying, is it Nashville Nightmare Haunted House? Yeah, that's it, man. That place is great. Great tenants too. We bought that property back in, 21 or 22. Let's see here. Okay, so we're going to assume 500 grand if we want to demise it. All right, so that puts us at $51 a foot. I think that's cheap. I think we could do it cheaper, but that's not a bad number overall. Closing costs, I think we're probably going to be closer to 30,000, maybe less. Let's do 25. Zoom in on this. You guys can see it better. By the way, for those of you guys that are here joining me live, have y'all jumped in and started using this spreadsheet yet? Would love to hear y'all's thoughts on it. Let's go 25% down. Actually, you know what? No, I can't. I was going to say, what if we did like a really interesting seller finance scenario, but we've got capitalized rehab? The problem with that, actually, let's say that we went to the owner and we said, hey, owner, your property's been sitting on the market for 422 days. How about instead of you paying however much you're having to pay to carry it, You sell or finance it to me. Now we're making some assumptions that they don't have debt on it, which may or may not be true. You sell or finance it to me with 0% down, but I'll pay you 9% interest only for 5 years. And the reason you're going to accept that is because I'm going to bring $500,000 down to, let's say $250,000 down to fix the place up and get it leased. So let's do that. So we'll actually delete the capitalized rehab. We'll put it into non-capitalized rehab. So let's say maybe you could build the whole thing out for $250, but maybe you only get a few bays and you've got to leave one big open bay. That's fine too. Your closing costs are actually going to drop pretty substantially because you're not going to have a bank involved, right? So, I mean, let's just throw $12,000 in there for, whatever. Our down payment is going to be 0%. Our interest rate is going to be 9%, and we'll leave our 20-year amortization where it is. So what I would do next in this scenario is I would actually come down here to the principal reduction, and I would zero all of these out, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. 0, 0, 0, 0, because we're not paying it. We're not, like, if we're getting it interest only for 5 years, we're not paying any principal reduction. So that's a new scenario. We haven't actually covered this before. So this is an interest-only loan. That's how we would structure that in this spreadsheet. Let's say, everything around there is leasing for like $6 a foot. I feel confident in 7 because we're putting some more money into it on top of what we've already done. This was hard-coded, so I need to delete this. This is going to equal that times 103. So that's how you would fix that if that was the case. And then we will remove the red and take it back to blue. Wrong blue. Oh, man, there's like 50 shades of this kind of blue. All right, we got it right. So there you go. That's our rent. Let's assume that we're going to be vacant. Let's just assume, because we got to demise it. That's at least 4 to 6 months. And then let's just say we're vacant the whole first year. And then maybe 50% the second year, and then we stabilize out at 7%. I don't know. Let's just see where it goes. But let's say that we are able to do it on a triple net basis, but I'm still going to have some expenses in there because you just always have asset level expenses. We'll pay our brokers a 6% commission. Oh, man, we get to a 127 in year 2. Oh, all you have to do is lease it, which, may or may not be feasible. Let's assume that I syndicated this because, hey, I negotiated a great deal, but I don't have the cash. So I'm going to bring some investors in to cover that for me. So I'm going to charge a 2% asset management fee. I'm going to take 30%. Oh, man, look at that. You know what? Let's say that this is too rosy. We saw another building that was only getting $6 a foot. Maybe we can only get 6 after doing all of that work and putting all that money into it. Oh, man, that's still... So this yellow box, that's the cash-on-cash returns for the investors. That's a really good deal if that works. I don't know. The biggest thing that I have a question about, though, is, like, are we going to actually be able to lease this? You know what? Hell, let's just say I've got to penalize myself because, nobody is going to take... Oh, wait a minute. I didn't mark something red, and I should have marked something red. Look at that. I was like, this is starting to look a little weird. I can't believe this is doing that well. It shouldn't be doing that well. Look at this. In the miscellaneous other income from the deal that we underwrote yesterday, this is why I always say, mark everything red in your spreadsheets. Clearly, I didn't do that whenever you change anything. Or always download a brand new fresh spreadsheet because I mean, what you guys just saw there is that I was getting completely wrong numbers because we had miscellaneous other income built in. This is going to entirely change the deal. All right, we zeroed that back out. And now it is normal. Hold your breath. Woof. All right, we're losing money. Okay, let's say that, oh, that's at $6. Yikes. I was like, man, this is still looking surprisingly good for being vacant for so long. Yeah, we're losing some money. Okay, so the seller finance structure doesn't work. So maybe we convince him to do it at 6% interest. The problem is it's so much. I mean, it's just, it's a lot. 6 times 8 is $48,000 a year, right? I mean, now you're starting to turn it around and make a little bit of money. All right. I would feel confident in probably an 8% cap rate here. It's a very odd area. Ooh, and we're losing 76% on our money. I don't know about you guys, but I did not get into this to have to get another job. Interesting. So let's look at it from a more traditional route now, and see if we can make that work. Let's say 500,000. We're not going to bring any non-capitalized rehab. Our closing costs are going to be closer to 25,000. Roundabouts is 2%. Operating capital, let's say that we have to bring down 25% to make the bank happy. They're going to charge us 7% on a 20-year AM. Now we got to fix our red boxes, right? So this equals our principal, because now we got to pay down our principal. You know what? Let's actually delete that. Let's say that we get 12 months of interest only. So we'll fix this one. No, what did I say that was? H26 equals H26 equals H26 equals, no, delete that, equals H26. All right, so there we have it. We have baked our principal back into it, so we're going to remove this formatting. All right. Now, I mean, obviously, I know it's not going to work, right? It works. It basically loses the same amount of money at this point. So at what point does it actually start to make sense from a rent perspective? Let's look at it from $10 a foot. Still losing money at $10 a foot. Ooh. And remember, we didn't see anything. I don't think we saw anything that was over $10 a foot, or that was at least listed. Doesn't work. So Jason, I think that we've got our answer, man. I think that with how much more still needs to go into it. Let's just say you actually bought it as is. Let's look at that scenario. You buy it as is. You put one tenant into it as is. I think you're probably going to get closer to $6 a foot, since that other place was rented for that. Maybe you got to build out a bathroom or something. Maybe we'll throw in $25,000 to just build them out. Really nice bathroom. No office space though. I mean, that's kind of tough. Maybe we drop this down to 15 grand because we're not taking out as big of a construction loan. Still got to put 25% down, 7% interest rate. We're getting $6 a foot. We're going to assume no occupancy, and actually we can change our occupancy now because we're not building anything out. So let's say that we're vacant for 1 full year. We got to market the hell out of this property. We sign a triple net lease, so we don't need to worry about our operating expenses. We will be paying brokerage commissions. We always take care of our brokers. Look at that. We never hit our debt service coverage ratio. Let's look at $8. Now you're hitting it in year 5. It's not good. Not good at all. $10. $10 too. At $10, okay, we're starting to hit our debt service coverage. Wow, that's very aggressive. Maybe we don't say 10. I mean, I don't think it's realistic either way. $9 a foot. Okay, now we're hitting a 1.33 debt service coverage ratio. We're cash flowing a little bit in years 3, 4, 5. Not a lot to the investors, but everybody gets a 22% return on their money or a 4% annualized cash on cash return. Not the best. Not the best. And if I go back over here and I look at what's for lease. No, come on. Why does it keep? I just want to see this is what Crexy is so much better. $1,380 a foot a year. I don't see how that's even possible. $6, $750, $375. Let's remove the boundary and see if there's some stuff. No, there's nothing. There's nothing. So, Jason, I think we've got our answer, man. I think that it's going to be too expensive to build this out for the type of tenant that's going to want to occupy it. I don't think that we can make it work at the price per square foot that we're going to need to lease it at, or maybe even find a tenant, to be honest with you. That access makes our job leasing more difficult in an already difficult market. So if this was something that you were still really, really interested in, what I would do is I would go, you said you were an hour away from Tuscaloosa. I would drive to Tuscaloosa. I would set up a couple of meetings with every industrial broker that works in that market and figure out what is happening over there. What's driving demand? What tenants are looking for space? Is 9,800 square feet desirable to tenants? What's the actual deal? That way, you can get a good idea, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But from what I'm seeing right now, I would say it's probably not a deal. And that happens, I mean, we look at these deals all the time, and you got to underwrite a lot of them to find a good one. Robert's saying it was. I went last year with a group. It was a great time. Yeah, the Nashville Nightmare Haunted House. By the way, if you guys ever make it out to Nashville around Halloween, go check out Nashville Nightmare Haunted House. It's awesome. I'm pretty sure they have stuff going on around Christmas too. They may do stuff all year. I don't know. Z is saying, can you do it where you would have to do the syndication round? Yeah. So Z, that's what that was. I had it structured so that, we'd have to be raising capital to do this. So that's right here at the 30%. So, Jason, sorry, man. I hope I'm not breaking your heart, but I'll always be realistic with you. Again, I'm not the expert. I may not know. I could be totally wrong because, I may just not know something about Tuscaloosa that somebody else does. But anyways, there you guys have it for today's 30 deals in 30 days. Jason, great share. That was a great deal for us to walk into because we saw a lot of stuff that we haven't seen yet, right? I mean, on the surface, it looked like a killer deal. You look at it on a price per square foot basis, $80 for a renovated property. How does that not work? And sometimes it's the market. It's tough to make these things work, and that's why we underwrite, and that's why we underwrite realistically. Because we can get very rosy with that and make it look like it's going to work. And then as soon as you buy it and actually have to get it leased, you're going to be dealing with your own nightmare. All right. Guys, join me tomorrow for the Halloween edition. I won't be dressed up. Maybe I will. For our 30 deals in 30 days. We'll be doing day 10. And, man, we're a third of the way through. I can't believe that we're already there. See you guys then. This episode of the Commercial Real Estate Investor Podcast is brought to you by my CRE Accelerator Mastermind, where you'll get access to my step-by-step investment blueprint, essentially a library of resources on how to invest in commercial real estate. You'll get connected to a supportive community of other commercial real estate investors that are doing projects just like you. You'll get personalized coaching and feedback from me every step of the way. Go to www.crecentral.com to learn more.